A man goes to a marriage counselor all by himself. Confused, the marriage counselor says, "This is quite odd, as usually this works better when both partners attend therapy together. Since you already paid for this session, I guess we will just have to pretend she is here and role play. I'll be your wife." The man instantly stiffens up and looks very nervous. Counselor: "Honey, are you not happy in our marriage?" Man: "I can't complain about that." Counselor: "Is it the relations?" Man: "I can't complain about that either." Counselor: "Well, is it the way I treat you?" Man: "Nope. Definitely can't complain about that." Getting frustrated about the lack of any insight, the counselor breaks character and says, "I don't think this is really going anywhere without your wife present. Why don't you bring her with you?" Man: "No, that won't work at all. It has to be just you and me. No role playing either." Counselor: "Well, why is that?" Man: "To you, I can complain."
A man sitting at a bar after work shares with the bartender why he is looking so stressed. "I'm not sleeping well. I have nightmares about a monster under my bed, and I am too embarrassed to seek help." A patron nearby overhears this and introduces himself. "I overheard your story, and I am a psychiatrist. Maybe I can help." The first thing is you recognize these are only dreams, and that is obvious, so I should be able to help you in a few sessions. Here's my card, give me a call. A few weeks pass and the same two are once again at the bar after work. The psychiatrist says to the other guy, "Hi, how goes the nightmares? I never heard from you, so I hope you are doing okay." The other guy says, "Things are great, the bartender helped me." Psychiatrist: "The bartender helped you? You needed a trained professional to help you. What possibly could a bartender do that a psychiatrist couldn't?" The other guy says, "He told me to saw the legs off my bed."
A group of engineers and computer scientists from the same university are attending a conference in the next town. They decide to take the train. The engineers buy one ticket each. The computer scientists scratch their heads, pool their cash, and buy a single ticket. The engineers think this is strange, but watching computer scientists get in trouble should be fun. The conductor comes around to get the tickets, and all the computer scientists disappear into the bathroom. The conductor knocks on the bathroom door and says, "Ticket please." They slide the ticket under the door, pull their savings, have a few drinks and arrive at the conference in good form. On the way home, the engineers buy a single ticket. The computer scientists pool their money and buy all the tickets except one. The engineers scratch their heads, but decide not to worry about it and head to the bar. The conductor comes around, and the engineers pile into the bathroom. The computer scientist without a ticket promptly walks over to the bathroom, knocks on the door and says, "Ticket please."
So, it's about 1961, and I am ever so proudly part of a land survey crew working in a local neighborhood. A young boy comes out from his house and states, "My mom wants to know what you are doing here." I state, "Well, we're surveyors." And as the crew continues down the street, I hear his mom ask, "Well, what are they doing, Tommy?" To which Tommy responds, "Don't worry, Mom, they are survivors."
A man is convinced his wife is going deaf, but she won't admit it. So he decides to test his theory once and for all. While she's standing at the sink, he stands about 6 steps behind her and says, "What's for dinner, dear?" When there's no answer, he steps a few steps closer and repeats the question. Again there's no response, so he moves right to his wife's shoulder and asks, "What's for dinner, dear?" At this, his wife turns around angrily and says, "For the 3rd time, sausages."
A farm boy accidentally overturned his wagon load of corn. The farmer who lived nearby heard the noise and yelled over to the boy, "Hey, Willis, forget your troubles. Come in and visit with us. I'll help you get the wagon up later." "That's mighty nice of you," Willis answered, "but I don't think Pa would like me to."
Aww.
"Come on, boy," the farmer insisted. "Well, okay," the boy finally agreed, and added, "But Pa won't like it." After a hearty dinner, Willis thanked his host. "Willis, I feel a lot better now, but I know Pa is going to be real upset." "Don't be foolish," the neighbor said with a smile. "By the way, where is he?" "Willis, under the wagon."
A statistics major was completely hungover the day of his final exam. It was a true/false test, so he decided to flip a coin for the answers. The statistics professor watched the student the entire 2 hours as he was flipping the coin, writing the answer, flipping the coin, writing the answer. At the end of the 2 hours, everyone else had left the final, except for the one student. The professor walks up to his desk and interrupts the student, saying, "Listen, I have seen that you did not study for the statistics test. You didn't even open the exam. If you are just flipping a coin for your answer, what is taking you so long?" The student replies bitterly, as he is still flipping the coin. "Sure, I am checking my answers."
A Native American hitchhiker was picked up by a slick city man who was driving past the reservation. As they were driving along, the Native American noticed a brown paper bag on the dashboard and inquired as to its contents. The city man replied, "It's a bottle of wine. I got it for my wife." The Native American looked forward at the road, nodded his head solemnly, and said, "Good trade."
At the beginning of deer season, Tom and George took a week off work and together headed to their favorite spot to hunt. On the first night, Tom drops a 10-point buck and they go ahead and cut it open to make some deer stew and beans. Well, Tom is kind of a jokester and knew that George would soon head out to relieve himself. So, he takes the deer intestine out to the customary tree. After a bit, Tom was right and George headed out with the roll of TP to the tree. 2 hours went by. As Tom sees George limping back into camp, he grins and says, "Hey George, what took you so long?" George replies, "Well, I was grunting and pushing so hard I crapped out my intestines. But thanks to the good this stick, I got him back in."
Two cannibal friends were sitting together for lunch. The one asked the other, "Hey, I heard you and your boyfriend had a big fight last night?" "Yes, that's right." "So how are things between you right now?" "Well, right now." The cannibal stopped to take a sip of her tea. "Right now I'm letting him stew."
A man worked for a road crew. One day he woke up ill with a touch of laryngitis, but being a dedicated employee he went to work. The boss felt sorry for him and didn't want him to do any physical labor although they were repairing a part of the freeway. He said to the worker, "Why don't you go down the road and tell people to slow down going through the construction?" The worker is glad for the easy day and does as instructed. He stops the first vehicle that comes along. "Sir," he whispers, his throat feeling worse, "please slow down, there's a road crew up ahead." "Okay," the driver whispers back. "I'll try not to wake them."
A man goes into a restaurant and orders soup. When the waiter brings out the bowl, he has his thumb stuck in the soup, but the customer decides to let it go. "Would you like anything else?" the waiter inquires. "We have some very good beef stew today." "Sounds good," says the customer. So the waiter goes off and comes back with a plate of stew, and his thumb is in the stew. The customer is getting angry now, but decides to hold his tongue. "How about some hot apple pie?" asks the waiter. "Fine," says the customer. The waiter returns with his thumb stuck in the pie. Now the customer is really getting furious. "Coffee?" asks the waiter, and when the customer nods yes, he hurries off. He returns with his thumb stuck in the cup of coffee. By now the customer can no longer restrain himself. "What do you think you're doing? Every time you've come to the table you've had your thumb stuck in my food." The waiter says, "I've got an infection and my doctor told me to keep my thumb in a hot, moist place." The man says angrily, "Why don't you take that thumb To which the waiter replies, "Where do you think I put it when I'm in the kitchen?"
There are usually 100 hens on a farm, and only one rooster. After all, the rooster is just meant for mating, and useless apart from that. One day, the farmer decided that the current rooster is getting old, and bought a new younger rooster in. The old rooster, upon seeing the new, younger rooster, got angry. "What are you doing here? This is my turf," he said to the younger rooster. The younger rooster replied, "I know how the farmer thinks. You are old and I'm here to help and eventually take your place. Why don't you just give up and go to the corner of the field and rest?" Visibly enraged now, wings flapping, the older rooster retorted that he'll sooner be turned into a stew than to retire without a fight. "I challenge you to a race, 10 laps around the field. If I lose, I'll do as you say and stay away till the end of my life. However, if I win, you are to leave this field and never return." The younger rooster smirked and said, "You are just going to embarrass yourself in front of the ladies, old chicken. Fine, you are on. In fact, I'll give you a 20 yards head start." So the race got underway, and the young rooster can be seen chasing the old rooster round the field on the first lap. On the second lap, bang! The farmer shot the young rooster dead. "Darn it! Why are all the new roosters I bought, including the 2 previously, only interested in chasing and mating with the old rooster?"
2 ants had an arrangement to meet every winter in Miami for a vacation. Last year, when one ant gets to Miami, he is shivering and shaking. The other aunt asked him, "Why are you shaking so badly?" The first ant says, "I rode down here from New Jersey in the mustache of a guy on a Harley." The other ant says, "That's the worst way to travel. Do what I do. Go to the New Jersey airport bar. Have a few drinks. While there, look for a nice stewardess, crawl up her leg and nestle in where it's warm and cozy. It's the best way to travel that I can think of." The first ant thanks the second ant and says he will give it a try next winter. A year goes by. When the first ant shows up in Miami, he's shivering and shaking again. The second ant says, "Didn't you try what I told you?" "Yes," says the first ant. "I did exactly what you said. I went to the New Jersey airport bar. I had a few drinks. Finally, this nice young stewardess came in. I crawled right up to her warm, cozy spot. It was so nice and warm that I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was back in the mustache of a guy on a Harley." Hey there, I put a lot effort into making these videos, so please subscribe for more jokes and stay happy. Thank you.